Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nasma Abdul Muhsin and this is AVN News. The summit between President Donald Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un will go on as originally planned on June 12th in Singapore. The U.S. President made the announcement at the White House after receiving a letter from Kim that was hand-delivered by his top nuclear negotiator. VOA's Mary Ellis Salinas has more.
After a rare meeting with North Korea's one-time spy master at the White House, President Donald Trump announced the high-stakes summit with the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, is back on.
June 12th, we'll be in Singapore. It'll be a beginning, I don't say, and I've never said it happens in one meeting. You're talking about years of hostility, years of problems.
North Korea's top nuclear negotiator and former spy, Kim Jong-chol, hand-delivered the letter from leader Kim Jong-un on Friday. And while Trump did not reveal its contents, he described it as very nice. After meeting for more than an hour, Trump announced both sides are totally over, harsh words that led him to nix previous plans for a summit.
It's a process. It doesn't go, we're not going to go in and sign something on June 12th. We never were. We're going to start a process. And I told him today, take your time. You can go fast, we can go slowly. But I think they'd like to see something happen, and if we can work that out, that'd be good.
Earlier this week, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Kim Jong-chol laid out expectations on both sides during meetings in New York.
I've been very clear that President Trump and the United States objective is very consistent and well known. The complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearation of the Korean Peninsula.
North Korea is pressing for economic opportunity and relief from crippling sanctions.
They have a potential to be a great country. And I think South Korea is going to help a lot. Japan's going to help a lot. I think China's going to help a lot.
The president noted Friday the United States will hold off on hundreds of new sanctions against Pyongyang unless talks break down. Mary Alice Salinas, VOA News, Washington.
The U.S. economy added 223,000 jobs in May, sending the unemployment rate to an 18-year low of 3.8%. The Labor Department says hourly wages also grew, bumping average worker pay up 2.7% from this time last year. And yet, despite the improving job picture, economists say there may be a dark cloud forming on the horizon. Mil Arkega reports.
A snapshot of the U.S. economy shows rising confidence across a broad sector of industries.
Consumers are spending, businesses are investing, we're getting some support from government. The global economy, outside of some issues in Europe, appears to be doing well. And so we're seeing job gains across industries, and that means we're seeing good job numbers, and more importantly, we're seeing stronger wage growth.
That means consumers have more money to spend for the goods and services that companies sell. U.S. President Donald Trump was quick to take credit.
We have reached yet one more historic milestone, with 3.8% unemployment just announced and another all-time record low African American unemployment, Hispanic unemployment at an all-time low in history. We're very honored by that.
But it may be too soon to celebrate. Economists say recent moves by the Trump administration to raise tariffs on steel and aluminum imports could hurt economic growth and jobs.
This is injecting a whole new round of uncertainty in the business environment that, frankly, the business community didn't bargain for and doesn't want to see.
Higher tariffs make supplies and prices for commodities less certain, which Hamrick says can wreak havoc on business plans. But Fauché says until the tariffs become law, the threat of a trade war is just posturing.
Obviously, some industries in the United States will benefit from tariffs. So if we see in tariffs on imported steel and aluminum steel producers may hire a bit more. But there are other industries that are going to be hurt, industries that use these imported goods. So I think that on the whole, it's probably likely to be a small net negative for employment in the U.S.
But there are other worries on the horizon. The U.S. economy has been growing for 9 years, now one of the longest expansions in U.S. history. And economists say what goes up must come down.
Our just completed survey of private economists at Bankrate indicated that the vast majority believe that a recession will be seen in the next 3 years.
While there are few signs of an imminent recession, some economists say rising inflation, higher interest rates, and the potential for a global trade war could trigger the next downturn, erasing much of the confidence consumers and businesses are enjoying today. Millar Sega for VOA News, Washington.
Facebook has faced backlash from customers, regulators, and lawmakers over its handling of user data and its response to reports that foreign actors have used its service to upend elections. Now it is shareholders of Facebook's turn to sound off at the company's annual meeting in California. Michelle Quinn reports.
Outside of Facebook's shareholders meeting, one man protests the social media giant.
The company's a terrible company, and I think it's a terrible stock to own right now.
His message to Facebook's shareholders is simple.
Sell Facebook.
Investors, large and small, file in to tell company leaders what they think. That's particularly true this year in the wake of a user data scandal and reports on how Russian propaganda infiltrated Facebook to influence elections worldwide.
I want to see how Mark Zuckerberg and company are going to handle what happened last year with the infamous political scandal where they used the Facebook data to influence our election.
In recent months, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has faced a barrage of questions about the service.
This has been an intense year.
The company's stock plunged after reports that users' data ended up with political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica. But for some, the crisis was an opportunity.
So I bought the Facebook shares after the Cambridge scandal broke, and now it's going up, and I've had about 13% gains on those holdings.
Natasha Lamb is the managing partner at Arjuna Capital.
Thank you. What we would like to see is that kind of transparency around reporting, and so that we're not surprised like we've been this past year. Those are disturbing revelations, and it's not something that investors want popping up and experience the drop in market value from that.
Her proposals, one on gender pay equity and another requiring Facebook to report on the content of its site, both lost. But she says it's important to be at the meeting.
Shareholder proposals send a signal to management, they send a signal to the board that they need to pay attention.
At the meeting, Zuckerberg acknowledged a shift in the company's approach.
We didn't do enough to be proactive in looking at how people could try to abuse these tools. The main thing that we need to do right now is make sure that we take a broader view of what our responsibility is to our community.
For shareholders, whether the company's changes can translate into a boost in Facebook's stock price remains to be seen. Michelle Quinn, VOA News, Menlo Park, California.
From Italian to Chinese and Afghan to Ethiopian, there are many diverse ethnic restaurants in Washington. Yet opening a new one with an unfamiliar cuisine can be risky. Seng Luangrat, a former refugee with a passion for cooking, dared to open the first Lao restaurant in the U.S. capital. As VOA's June Saw reports, Thip Kao is thriving. Carol Pearson narrates her report.
Cooking is my passion. When I cook, I put 100% of my heart and soul into what I'm making.
Perhaps that's why many diners at Thip Kao are regulars.
My wife and I tried it and fell in love with the food, the freshness of the ingredients, the spice, the flavors. And it keeps us coming back. We've brought friends, and all of our friends have fallen in love with the restaurant too.
Seng Longlat opened the Washington region's first Lao restaurant in December 2014.
What really amazed me was in summer of 2015, we were nominated the best 50 new restaurants in America by Bon Appetit. That was just like surreal. For me, I was just, how did it happen?
Longlat started cooking at a young age in Laos.
I started cooking at the age of 7 and learned it from my grandmother. My mom was too busy working, so I have to cook for my 3 other siblings. I remember it was a joy for me to learn, to observe whatever my grandmother will give me an assignment to do.
Long Lot's family fled to Thailand in 1981 due to the impact of the Vietnam War, and her interest in cooking grew while living in a refugee camp.
I was 12 years old. I learned how to cook for my neighbors. We have neighbors from all over Laos, so I got myself exposure to different types of Lao cooking.
2 years later, her family came to the U.S. and resettled in the San Francisco Bay Area. As the oldest child, Long Lot continued to cook for the family while her parents worked long hours. After getting married, she and her husband moved to the Washington suburbs. Then, following her passion, Long Lot took over a Thai restaurant and started serving a few Lao dishes.
And it was quite challenging is because not too many people know Lao cuisine, not too many people know where Laos is. So I have to come out and teach my guests, what is Lao food, where is Laos.
Encouraged by customers' responses, Long Lot finally opened a restaurant that exclusively serves Lao dishes in the U.S. capital.
Tip khao means a basket, a vessel that holding sticky rice. It's a part of Lao culture. If you go to Laos household, you're always going to see tip khao. It's a basket that is also meaningful for our Lao culture as well.
To deliver the authentic flavor of Lao cuisine, she grows some vegetables and herbs in her backyard that she can't find locally.
For example, we have kaffir lime leaves, which is the leaves that give a lot of fragrance, aroma to the salad.
This year, for the 2nd year in a row, Long Lot was nominated as a Best Chef Mid-Atlantic semifinalist for the James Beard Award, one of the most coveted honors in the restaurant industry.
Cooking, being in the kitchen, make me happy. It's part of my life.
For producer June So, I'm Carol Pearson, VOA News, Washington.
Cancer is not just an illness of the body. It also takes a toll on the patient's emotional well-being. To fight feelings of isolation and depression, an organization called the Pavlov Foundation created a program that teaches photography to children living with cancer. Through a camera lens, young cancer patients can focus on the beauty in life. VOA's Elizabeth Lee reports from a gallery show in Los Angeles, where some of the pictures of students are on display.
Student photographer Madeline Morales has had experiences most 15-year-olds have not. She has undergone chemotherapy and radiation, but today will be a unique kind of experience, something most people will never have.
Makes me feel excited, a little bit of nervous.
A gallery show with Morales' photos on display. These images reflect her journey while battling cancer.
I try to look at things with a lot of light, a lot of what draws me to is positivity, something that means love or happiness. I think with photography and having that faith of God has really helped me a lot into, staying positive and being motivated to want to keep fighting this disease.
Morales is one of 23 students sharing their experiences with cancer through photos at this gallery. They're graduates of the Pavlov Foundation's Shutterbugs Advanced Photography class.
Being in these classes with other people that completely understand their experience and can be a community with them has been really impactful and has really made them feel a lot more comfortable in what they've been through and where they're going with it.
The Pavlov Shutterbugs program offers classes in 8 cities across the United States. Proceeds from sales of these prints will go toward pediatric cancer research grants.
Hello, my name is Bayu Lukman, and I have some photos in this gallery. Most of my photos themes focused on hope.
This is Bayu Lukman's photo.
Because the butterfly, in a way, how it flies, it kind of represents a feeling of optimism, I'd say.
And optimism is needed when fighting cancer and the effects of chemotherapy and radiation, says Lukman, who was diagnosed with cancer when he was 10 years old.
You kind of get really depressed and you don't want to live anymore. And you need to stay, optimistic and push yourself through.
With photography, many young students gain an identity that is not dictated by cancer.
There's more to us than just having cancer. We have more of a story to tell besides cancer. We want people to see what we see, even if it's through the lens.
Pablo helped me understand more about the struggles of cancer and has given me a small chance to actually assist in the world a bit with photography, I'd say, to express my story and allow it to hopefully reach other kids so they can understand how to deal with it, hopefully.
To cope by not only using photography as an engaging distraction, but also a tool to document their struggle with cancer and share their stories with the world. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News, Los Angeles.
Birds and airplanes share the sky, so inevitably collisions occur. But airport authorities try to limit those encounters because bird strikes can cause costly damage to jet engines and can lead to crashes. Some airports employ trained dogs, others use loud noises to frighten birds away. A company in the Netherlands says its robotic predator Robert is much more efficient. VOA's George Putic has more.
Dogs and loud noises can do only so much, but when a formidable enemy such as the peregrine falcon appears in the sky, most other birds steer clear. And it doesn't matter whether the falcon is real or a robot, as long as it has flapping instead of fixed wings.
If a bird of prey is in the area, but it's just soaring around, it's just gliding in the air, it's not flapping its wings, it's most certainly just observing. It's not actively hunting. So other birds, they notice it, they see it, they'll be on high alert, but that's about it. The moment that this bird starts flapping its wings, they know that it's got serious, and that's when they know that everything starts to get dangerous for them.
Designing a mechanical wing that bends across its entire length in a repetitive motion, as birds' wings do, was a formidable task.
Just like with real birds, the wings, which might look rigid, they're actually flexible, which allows it to sort of row through the air instead of just moving its wings up and down. And this allows it to actually generate not only the lift, but also the thrust that it needs to go forward.
The body of the robot is 3D printed out of fiberglass and nylon composite, which can withstand hard landings, and made in a natural feather pattern. For now, it flies by a remote control, but its designers are working on an algorithm which can keep it on a predetermined flight path, for instance, along the perimeter of an airport. Robert Falcon is already successfully keeping birds in check around several airports and landfills. Its next iteration, a North American bald eagle capable of scaring bigger birds, will be available soon. George Putic, VOA News.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant day.